Well, there seems to be an overwhelming amount of information going on right now, and intentionally so. Even the average person follows a lot of political commentators now, social media profiles, and geopolitical journalists and commentators, because there's so much going on. There's like a river that's just ramped up in pace, and the bits of information, like logs floating in the river, is just increasing. So no one's really got any time to interpret, digest, and understand their course of action and recourse, and better aim their moral compass and understanding what's happening. So what we do see is a lot of social media commentators just reacting. There's a lot of, rage baiting, I think they call it. People just screaming at at their audience, I guess, talking about how frustrated they are about the low-hanging fruit, immoral ongoings of XYZ, and it's all important, but I just want to give a word of warning. Like, don't give in too much just listening every day, watching your favorite social media political commentator just rage out at like how bad the place is. I mean, there's a lot of them, here, Big Chocky, you got, Tommy the Cowboy used to a bit more, I think it's a bit much for him now. And then you've got like Two Worlds Collide, and, he's been trying to be somewhat level-headed about it, but in the end, what's going on right now, if you've been paying attention closely and without getting indebted emotionally to what's happening, and you're just interpreting, sitting back, understanding, if you're casting your spiritual eyes towards what's happening and interpreting in a wider scale picture, then you'll see across the globe it's the same thing what's happening across the West in particular, happening here in Australia. And there is one fellow there's been protests that's just against here in Sydney, and he's visiting Melbourne, and he's a president of a state that's committing war crimes, accused of genocide, inciting genocide, and accused of crimes of atrocity. And it's clear as day, morally speaking, what is right. And then you get all this influx of commentary about rationalizations, X, Y, Z's, and then talking about multiculturalism. That should be a bigger issue. There's a lot of issues, there's a lot of floating, fast-paced issues floating in the endless river stream of reality. But you need to stop and pause, take a bigger picture out, and you need to think about what is priority here, what is causing the effect of this flow of information. We've got the Epstein files going on, and it's all highly related. He was politically, financially, and militarily and intelligence community connected through Israel. That's no joke. There's people that are accused of now, it's coming out these are very visible items that we all connect to the bigger picture when you zoom out. These mega group corporations that have funded APAC here in Ajax here in Australia, and all these intelligence agencies and apparatuses around the world, and it's a bit, the financial infrastructure is a bit, how do I say, it's under a bit of their control, let's say that. And so when you think of it that way, and you think of COVID, and you think of all these lockdowns, and you think of Pfizer, the CDC, the WHO, and you see all the dots lining all back up that way, and who's influencing the dynamics of the very culture you live in, say here in Australia, for me and my fellow Aussies, there is one boogeyman there that you can, depending on how you go about saying it, addressing it, and interpreting, describing what it is, but it's a complex apparatus of nodes of one kind of ideology of supremacy that you might say, that's in that camp that's directing all the other crises going on, including multiculturalism here in Australia, including financial, housing, economic crisis, housing crisis, all the other crises. And you see it's all aligning up. So if you pause and stop to, not pay or give too much credence or attention even just to the rage baiting about, I'm raged at this, like Big Chocky going on with rage, he's got all this information, he's making a social media personality and cashing in. I mean, it's his income, I guess. And but it's not exactly helping anyone or move the dial. So if you're an Australian patriot, conservative fella, and you care about the country and where we're going, the direction we're heading, you got to look across the political aisle if you are still stuck in that mindset of looking at political ideologies, and you're in one ideology. But you got to start to look at this Herzog fella that's over here. He's an immoral character, he's a bomb signer, He doesn't align with you. I doubt you'd sign up on, right? And you look at these young, activist, student-minded, a lot of women, socialist-driven characters. They're out there with balls protesting this stuff. There ain't no patriots doing that. I'm sure there's a lot of patriots or conservative-minded people that agree with their protest against them, but we're still blocked up with these little barriers. You've got a lot of intelligent minds really unraveling how bad multiculturalism is, from the example we have in the UK, but we're getting stuck in the weeds there because the current's moving too quick with crises. The Epstein idiot crises, linking all these high-profile politicians, intelligence people, police, and you name it. And here in Australia, or I'm hearing this Australia First slogan being pushed, and I'm like, okay, well, if you're Australian first, boys and girls, that means you want to decouple the external influences that are guiding our country, guiding our politicians, directing our financial infrastructures, interest rates, our economic crises, and policies on multiculturalism and immigration. And we do see like the height of immorality going on in the Middle East, the height of immorality going on with the Epstein files and his connections. And that doesn't just go down the stream. It's stuck there, it will be stuck there, and it will stay stuck there until we all address it and connect its influence over our government here in Australia, if you truly care to put Australia first. Create some revolution. I doubt it's going to be in the political party system because it doesn't seem like that's a functioning system, does it? Anywhere across the West. So what's to come? That's the next question. That's where people really need to start casting their eyes and thinking about, honestly, what can I contribute? What, can we do to get together and discuss what's going to happen? And it just seems like too many of the social media commentators are looking after their own business and their own profile page and keeping up like multiple posts a day, raging all day about the little issues, but not actually convening to help in any meaningful way. So we're kind of relying on a new political party to pop up that isn't controlled by the external dynamics involved with the Middle Eastern immorality, the killings and atrocities, the genocides, is not involved in Epstein's intelligence apparatus of political influence and the whole entire financial infrastructure control, economic slavery of 2026, of the modern human, the modern capitalist man and woman trying to get their piece of the pie. It's all part of this system, and we need a bit of a decoupling from a rigged game up the top. Who's going to do it? How are we going to do it? Who's giving solutions out there? Out of all the social media commentators you see online, who's coming together really? Who's not putting out 3 videos a day, just trying to get their numbers up and their money up? Who's not trying to cash in off it? And who's sitting there? I mean, one area I need to address is the really low moral level, the very myopic vision of the landscape going on. It's an ultra selfish capitalist manner of people just going, I work for myself, I care about my own money and Australia first, and that's it. Listen, if you're in Australia first without any connecting or empathetic understanding of the wider implications and dynamics across the globe into Australian culture, and you're just going Aussie first and you think just solving immigration will finalise the problems here, you're deluded and you're not paying enough attention. You need to keep listening, pause, enough of the rage information, and pause and understand on your own, talk to others behind the scenes. Because the Australia First slogan is the same as saying America First over there. That's this whole Trump administration. It's the same as the Israelis going Israeli First. Like, the most powerful looks to be country in the world is Israel. They've got their hooks and all the dynamic control of all the dynamics in the US. That's causing a big civil war over there right now between that Trump administration. So if you're in Australia First, just Australia First blinders on, why are you allowed to do that and Israel's not allowed to say Israel first? Why not? I mean, would we be happy if we were in Israel's place doing having the intelligence controlling all the other countries, just going, yeah, Australia first. We win, we're better than every other country can suffer. That's not moral. Like, you got to understand there is morality that is good and wrong, and if you're a part of it, part of something going wrong, part of something being evil, you're attached and tethered in some indirect way or direct. Even if it puts you first, it's not good. It creates bad outcomes. So it's a spiritual understanding and interpretation that we need. We need far more spiritual eyes cast to this project of the West, or Australia here right now. We need to understand and empathize with each other and convene to discuss what's going on, rather than the rage bait and me and my ego are sick of this, so F this and F that, therefore I'm right and I should be president of the world and everyone can get around me. That's not solving anything, because I guarantee you all these favorite social media commentators of yours, you'll find very quickly, you'll find areas that you disagree with those guys, and they will not care about you, and they could be your favorite commentator. What we need is people saying no to immoral activity. Not anti-Semitism, just basic, there's many good Jewish groups opposing the genocide. Anyone that opposes the genocide don't oppose those Jews that are opposing the genocide. It's not about anti-Semitism, it's about opposing immorality. It's a spiritual stance you need to take. Everyone, we need to start listening and talking a bit more, convening, not cashing in on the rage bait, quoting every Epstein email for some bait, quoting every little incident of crime that happens here in Australia, and then leaning back on multiculturalism. We need to actually talk about untethering, decoupling away from the immoral forces out within ourselves and externally that are controlling and causing this issue. Who's out there able to talk in spiritual language to decipher, interpret, and go about highlighting a bigger vision for the world, or here in Australia? I'd love to talk to you.